Back in the late 90s to early 2000s, Mascot platformers were all the rage, from Banjo-Kazooie, Crash Bandicoot and Spyro, just to name a few. At the time, Mascot platformers were the go-to style of game for developers. It was obviously a very successful market, both financially and critically. But basically what I am saying is that it was an easy formula to follow to make sure a developer's game had some form of success. The first game that I truly remember playing was Spyro the Dragon on the PlayStation 1. And since it was my first game, I have a deep sense of nostalgia for it. I truly consider it to be one of the best games that I have ever played. A chilled experience where you can go and run around a level and just mess about and have fun. But when I play modern games, I really appreciate the era that I was born into, where developers weren't running around trying to pump out a new game in their franchise just to keep the player base engaged. So basically what I am saying is that Spyro will always have a place in my heart. These early Mascot platformers gave some of the biggest breaks to developers that are still producing big budget games to this day, even if they have deviated from their platforming roots. And once again to reference Spyro and Crash Bandicoot, but both of the original developers are all making big budget AAA gaming successes to this day, such as Insomniac, who created the original Spyro games, who have now gone on to make games such as Ratchet & Clank, as well as the very successful Spider-Man PS4 game. As well as Naughty Dog, the developers of the original Crash Bandicoot games, who have gone on to make games such as Jak and Daxter, The Last of Us and the Uncharted series. So many developers started with the Mascot platformer, but have now deviated into other styles of games as to keep up with the gaming trends in this modern era of gaming. By the 2010s, Mascot platformers basically faded into obscurity. You didn't really hear anything about any new games being released in that genre. Instead, you heard about the new Call of Duty or Battlefield game, as the first-person shooter market started to dominate the gaming scene. The gaming trend at the moment is open world games. Almost any game franchise is now deviating to an open world style of game, such as Metal Gear Solid and the Witcher franchises that all went open world. It seems like nowadays most developers or studios are just trying to slap that open world sticker on their games because that's the current trend. To be honest, I don't really see any Mascot platformers nowadays. I think the only real Mascot platformers that I can recall from the top of my head that have been released recently are Super Mario Odyssey, Yooka-Laylee, and of course the Spyro Reignited trilogy and the Crash Bandicoot Insane trilogy. I guess maybe at the time of Mascot platformers when they were at their peak, the genre just got oversaturated and thus developers went into other styles of games such as semi-open world games or level-based games but in a first-person shooter setting. It is such a shame that Mascot platformers have basically disappeared. You never really hear any gaming announcements for that genre, and it is quite disappointing that many people, but primarily children and teenagers, are only really going to be exposed to first-person shooters such as Call of Duty and Battlefield, but also open world games like The Witcher 3, the Assassin's Creed series, the Far Cry series, and the Division series, but also soon to be Cyberpunk 2077. Mascot platformers have had such great character through the years, not only through the characters, but also through the environment as well. The Mascot platformer genre's games are some of the only games that truly stand out visually against most modern games, as they usually have their own artistic style. You don't even need a compelling narrative to enjoy Mascot platformers. The fun simply comes from roaming around the level and collecting everything you can until your percentage rate is at 100%. Personally for me, the satisfaction I feel from 100%ing every single level is unreal. There is truly nothing like it. But I guess that not many people are going to be able to gain that type of satisfaction anymore, especially with the gaming trends in our modern era. In conclusion, it is such a shame that Mascot platformers have faded away, but I guess that's just how things work. As soon as one thing becomes successful, everybody hops on that bandwagon. Many people won't experience Mascot platformers because they are too caught up on games like Fortnite and Call of Duty. And I'm glad that some games from the late 90s and early 2000s era have been remastered, and so people are able to play the games that I played when I was younger, but of course with better graphics and improved controls. In this modern era of gaming, the trend is open world. Who knows what it will be next? Thank you so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy, then subscribe, and don't forget to turn on that notification button so you don't miss another upload from me. So thank you, and goodbye.